Hello everyone. So I've written and rewritten this, tried a longer form and abridged, and this is what I'm going with. Apologies, I have a terrible narration voice for this sort of thing. It's just the only one I've got, so we're going with it. I'd like to talk about what I see as the major types of Final Fantasy XIV players. Sort of like the Bottle 4 types of mud players for those familiar with the concept, but a bit different. Specifically because I think it goes to the core of explaining why Dawntrail has consistently missed. It has targeted these various groups, but it's as if the developers of this expansion have fundamentally misunderstood what these groups want, leading to the content targeted to them falling flat. One thing to mention before we start is that people often cross categories. I'm kind of a combination of a few myself, particularly what I call lo-fi and knowledge-based, but more describing the domains of content and the players who like them. It's also not to disparage anyone, only to attempt to describe them so that we can dig into the content mismatch in Dawntrail related to these categories. Let's get straight to it. The first player type on our list are lifestyle players. These are players who just enjoy pseudo-living in another world, and the content they most engage with reflects this. They like cosmetic character customization, outfits, hairstyles, and being able to set up a place in the world for them, housing, apartments, to a point Island and Sanctuary allowing placing of some items and pets. They also like collecting emotes. This category includes our peers, but isn't limited to them by any means. What they like is always more customization, VR Hrothgar hats, more housing, instance housing, and they really hate it when cosmetic gear is walled behind either super challenge content or expensive Mog Station purchases. The next type of player on our list are lo-fi players. Like the genre of music for relaxing and chilling, lo-fi players want to relax and enjoy the story and experience. This is what most people mean when they talk about casual players. They accept combat as part of the story, but more in the way an action scene is in a superhero movie, as opposed to the technical mastery of an MMO prize fight. Difficult content is a block between them and content they enjoy, not necessarily a challenge that they thrive on. Many have busy schedules, work lives, and just want to play video games to relax for an hour or two before bed. They enjoy relaxed content they can do at their own pace, quick and simple content like Endwalker Expert roulettes, level 50 MSQ roulettes, or 24-man Pantheon or Crystal Tower runs. And they enjoy drop-in, drop-out content like Eureka or Boja or Diadem, where they can come in, chill a bit, drift between objectives, and then hop off when real life calls. As they don't devote that much of their lives to gaming, they don't want to have to spend time researching fights or job mechanics outside of the game itself. They'd rather spend their time playing the game instead, and they generally like things that can be rouletted instead of things that require party formation and party finder and Discord groups. They tend to like jobs that are like they like their content. Things that just do what it says on the tin. Things that are pretty relaxed and that just work. Warrior, White Mage, and Summoner tend to be very popular. They're also fine with grinds like Relic, Tome grinds, Light grinds, or running hallway dungeons for tomestones, since they can make consistent progress even if they only have 15 minutes an evening to work on them. They don't mind repetitive hallway dungeons because they enjoy the spectacle and story that surrounds them. The next type of players are knowledge players, or knowledge core if you will. This is what most people mean when they say mid-core, but I want to stress, the motivation of players in this category isn't simply content more difficult than lo-fi but less than hardcore. What they prize is getting knowledge, achieving technical mastery, being tested on that knowledge, and often sharing that knowledge. This group knows the difference between sound aggro and sight aggro. They know that Red Mage needs to use a swift cast or carefully timed acceleration every odd-numbered melee combo to keep Flesh and Contra 6 cooldowns from drifting. And they know about the website that shows you info on the monsters and their skill sets in Palace of the Dead for every 10 floors. They also are the only people that don't have to go to Google when they get Amdapor and Roulette and run the Diablos boss door mechanic. They don't like things being dumbed down, they get bored with hallway dungeons, and they really want new things to explore and learn, and major shakeups to the game and job design systems. A lot of them hate stuff like Summoners, Endwalker rework, or Scholar Shadowbringer loss of its DPS kit and ability to macro EOS abilities. They also enjoy reading and researching the game, rotations, theory and crafting, and so on outside of the game in addition to their playtime in the game. They tend to like jobs that have a lot of nuance and niches to optimize, jobs like Red Mage, Black Mage, Scholar, Astrologian, even Paladin, especially before 6.3, or Dancer. Basically jobs that have a lot of moment-to-moment decisions that reward both fight knowledge and deep knowledge of their job and its mechanics, and even other jobs. They also love mechanical customization, like Blue Mage, which would probably be their favorite job if it wasn't a limited job, Bullshit Lost Actions, Eureka Locos, and so on. They generally disliked Occult Crescent's Phantom jobs due to them effectively being very rigid and largely just additional cooldowns to use on cooldown. The next type of players are hardcore players. Hardcore players are probably the most well understood. They enjoy challenges and overcoming them. They tend to dislike mindless grinds, though they will put up with them to achieve their challenges. These types of people get a huge dopamine hit when overcoming something difficult, and they often don't realize that other player types really do not, which leads to them thinking everyone would like their challenge content if they'd only just give it a try. Hardcore players tend to be pretty chill though, and don't often look down on or harass other players, instead consuming their challenge content as it comes. As far as jobs, they aren't really bothered with complexity or simplicity, instead going with what works best with the challenges they're doing, and often they've mastered several jobs within a role or even several roles for flexibility. They also tend to repeat challenging content once they've cleared it, with the biggest annoyance to them being how difficult it is to gear multiple jobs so they can change things up from week to week. A last type that I only mention really to distinguish from the above, and because they are very present online, are elitist players. I want to stress I feel this is a very small portion of the player base, but they tend to be very vocal in online discussions. This group tends to like exclusivity of content, and are the ones who most hate anything being simple or approachable. They especially hate things being, quote, dumbed down, unquote, or baby mode. They really would rather a game like WildStar that simply has no casual content or presence at all. I hesitate to even mention this group, but I feel they're a big enough part of the conversation that they have to at least be addressed. If you encounter someone in a YouTube comment section or on the forums talking about how everyone is bad and wants things given to them with no effort and so on, it's probably one of these folks. Their drive is clout, even if it means putting other people down to achieve it, and they tend to be highly competitive, though often not at the skill level of actual hardcore players. So this was the brief version of a much longer discussion video I made and probably won't publish on this topic. It's the groundwork to spring off of and uses a framework to analyze what Dawntrail failed at most of all, consistently mistargeting content at the various player groups, and how they can fix it. I'm going to make a video digging into that and some examples soon, and who knows, maybe I'll post the long-form version of this video someday. Until next time, everyone.
It's not a matter of content or the game being hard or easy. It's a matter of the content you are interacting with and interfacing with being fun and engaging. And the problem with that is that people just simply find different things fun and engaging. That doesn't mean it's a 50-50 split on every single thing, but it does mean that some content that some people may find uninteresting, other people will find interesting, and vice versa. There'll be content that some people absolutely love and adore that a lot of other people will simply never want to do or stomach.